place in the context of this incredible concentration of wealth and income that has occurred over the last 40 years in this country and in our state. And we all hear about it almost every day, that 1% of the population takes in 25% of the annual income and has 40% of the wealth. And in the last 30 years, middle-class incomes have been flat. And with this incredible concentration of economic power, we have an incredible concentration of political power. And this election, that's why Barack Obama and Mark Dayton and Ken Tschumper and Democrats all over this country are talking about the need to raise taxes on the highest income people in order to have a government that helps create and sustain the middle class. And so winning this election is not only about creating economic fairness, it's about taking back our democracy from the Koch brothers and from the religious right and all of the other people. And so I'm not sure now which side the 47% is on. If that's on Romney's side or on Obama's side. So the second thing I want to say is, and it kind of relates to the first, my opponent is not abiding by the spending limits this year. Minnesota, if you want to get public subsidy, you abide by the spending limits, and Greg Davis isn't. I signed an agreement to do that, but because Greg doesn't, I don't have to either, and I still get the public subsidy. But I do need to raise a little more money, so if you can contribute money to my campaign, many of you have already, and I'm very appreciative of it. But if you can contribute a little bit more, that would be great. And the final point I want to make, actually I would love to talk a lot about the anti-marriage amendment, but suffice to say that, I firmly believe, and I think most of you do, that the promise of equality in our Constitution is not just for some of us, it's not just for most of us, it's for all of us, including gay and lesbian. But what I really want to talk about is climate change and global warming, because it hasn't been talked about much in this election. I've never been so scared in my life, and people who know me know that I don't scare very easily. The rate that climate change and global warming is occurring is much, much faster than people thought just 5 years ago. Prominent, eminent scientists in this country, people like Jim Hansen and Bill McKibben and many, many other climate scientists are in a panic because climate change and global warming are just going so much faster than we thought. And the problem, of course, is that we have a political system in this country that's absolutely paralyzed. Not a single Republican running for the U.S. Congress and not a single Republican running for the U.S. Senate believes that global warming is occurring and is willing to stand up and do something about it. This is an incredible, scary time. This is the challenge of our lifetime, the challenge of our generation. And we need to win every election on every level with progressive, liberal, Democrat, green, environmentalist people to address this challenge of our lifetime. And to make the connection to all three of my points, poor people do not have time to worry about climate change and global warming. Middle-class people who are worried about slipping out of the middle class simply are not going to be able to be allies of ours in addressing these issues. And that's why it's so important that we solve this problem of economic inequality, of the destruction of the middle class, if we also wanted to address the problem of climate change and global warming, which again is the challenge of our generation. So thank you very much, and thank you for